Welcome back to Flint Creek Transport. My name is Justin. I am back from our trip. Like I said in the last video, I was heading out of town for a little bit, and I would probably be back before this next video goes out. So we had a great trip down in Cayman Islands. So it was a few days of vacation and a couple days of work. We had a great time. It was our insurance meeting. We're part of a captive group, Captive Insurance. And just maybe a quick 2-minute rundown on captive insurance. It's a little bit different than traditional insurance. So we have opportunity to get part of our premium back at the end of the year, or I should say really in 3 or 4 years down the road. It takes some time till you get that premium back, but you have an opportunity to get it back if you're safe. And if you want to know more about it, shoot me an email. But you really need to have a premium, like your premium for your trucks. You can put your auto and general liability and workman's comp. So between those three, your premium should be around $250,000 or higher to be able to join a captive. That's typically what a lot of captives are. Some are less, some are more, but that kind of gives you an idea. So if you're paying that kind of money, just think you could get well over $100,000 back every year as long as you're safe. That's a great opportunity, and you want to be safe anyway. But anyway, other than that, it was a great trip, good time. Always learn something new. I think next year, hopefully, we will potentially be able to get some funds back of what we paid in back in 2020, 2021. So that will be a first. So I'm eager. It's been a lot of paying in and not really much coming back out. Couple things though I want to touch on today. I'm not going to give you a lot of update on stuff happening in the shop. There's a lot got done, but though some of the equipment's not done, we had some new things pop up, and I'll go over that in the next video. But let's take a walk over here, and I'm going to show you here in truck 144. Got a couple of trucks sitting here. This is late afternoon. We had this truck cruising down the road, and I guess some tools came off of a truck and whacked the bumper. Can't really see a lot, but it's kind of frustrating. Left some nice dings there. Yeah, it's hard to see. There's of course, of course it's not noticeable now, but it is usually very, very noticeable. But anyway, it's a expensive bumper. And so we're kind of going back on dash cam to see who it was, if there's any opportunity to get anything back, because now we got to swap everything over, swap the bumper out and all that good stuff. But that's why we have dash cams, right? They can protect you or they can hurt you. You just got to be careful. Highly recommend dash cams, guys, if you haven't gotten any. I'll drop some video in right now of some of the dash cams of our trucks, and these are things that happen to us. And that's why I say, guys, definitely get your dash cams. We're actually looking at potentially adding more cameras, not driver facing cameras, but more cameras that point out to the side, just as a way of protection, because sometimes we miss some stuff. But looking at how many times too, some of the things is how much did we have happen that we missed or wished we would have had. Typically a lot of this stuff is in the front. Sometimes we've had some rear accidents, but there's been very few. But we're still kind of contemplating some of that stuff. All right, guys, next I want to talk to you a little bit about electric trucks and what's coming. I know this whole election, there's a lot of things up in the air, and I don't know what's going to happen here in New York State, but there's some crazy stuff. So first off, well, it's in the milepost, but we're gonna get to that in a minute. I got a package in the mail. I love packages in the mail. Out of Idaho. So that could be a couple people I know out there. So let's check it out. Ha, look at that. Western trailer. I had an inkling that it could have been Western. Brand new Western trailer. Calendar. And some cookies. Some candies. Actually, not a lot of cookies. And some candies. How awesome is that? Thank you, Western Trailer. Like I said, this election has got things very interesting. And we have some big things we're facing here in upstate New York or in New York across the board. One of them being electric trucks. And that is kind of a mind-blowing thing, what they're doing. So they're basically forcing it upon a lot of people. I've been kind of kept up to date on some of this stuff. I did not make it to the Clean Truck event, but this is not just New York. It's obviously New York and California are the leaders, but by far there's other states that have adopted some of this stuff. And so I would just say is hang on. It's just with this new administration coming in, I don't know what's going to get repealed, what's going to, what they can do about some of the stuff. I want to first off say is it's not that I don't like clean air. I like clean air and I want my children to be able to have clean air and their children and on and on. But I really think that the way they go about some of these things, it's more of an just an agenda, and they don't really, it's not about the clean air. It's just about getting their agenda pushed. Just a quick background on some of this stuff. I joined Tanny. We joined Trucking Association of New York. That's what Tanny stands for. And we've been members for quite a while. And that's where we hear some of these updates, some of these things. They host the Clean Truck event and give us a lot of information. So I highly endorse, if you have a trucking association that you can be a part of, I would highly recommend it. You can give them feedback, and most of the times they are pretty reasonable or they're pretty workable, and more than likely you're probably going to see eye to eye with a lot of what they recommend. I've been part of Tanny, and that's when we hear some of this stuff coming. And there was an article that came that I was like, you know what, this is very interesting. So check this out. This is our president of Tanny. This is an article that she wrote. This is from Kendra Hems. And it's interesting. If you want to, I don't know if this is posted online or not, but this is the milepost. Go to Trucking Association of New York's website, Tanny website, and it might be on there. But it says right here in this second paragraph, Tanny is continuing to push back on the rule and is currently seeking a delay in its implementation. So you can see what all they're doing. And also read this last paragraph. I want to take this opportunity to provide some clarity on Tanny's policy as it relates to the shift to electric. So here's the things that Tanny supports. So those three things, and then what it opposes. So Tanny opposes policy that mandates the shift to electric vehicles. And it, again, repeating, opposes the policy that mandates a shift to electric vehicles. Now, read that last paragraph. The environment is important to all of us. However, the trucking industry has already made massive strides in addressing greenhouse gas emissions and continuing to do so. We do not need burdensome and harmful mandates for progress to advance. So that is from the Trucking Association of New York, the president, and she's working with a lot of the top legislators in New York State. So I don't understand what some of these people are thinking. And I know maybe you say go out and vote, go out, whatever, but it's more than that. And this is where I'm going to put a little pressure, or I think you guys need to put pressure on these manufacturers right here. PACCAR, Kenworth, Peterbilt, all the new truck manufacturers, they're the ones that are saying we can do this stuff. We can do it. But the problem is they're not testing it. They're just literally slapping parts, electric components into some of these trucks. And they're not testing it. Yeah, they're testing it, but not near like testing of other vehicles. That's the frustrating part to me. And it's just like, Cummins, for example. Cummins builds the X15 or whatever. The Cummins engine is supposed to be clean and green, but you know what? Most of the guys go out and delete their trucks anyway because they're such a pain in the neck. And what New York State, California, what they don't realize is that a lot of guys just run around with deleted trucks. We're going worse than making it better. And a lot of it's because Cummins, Volvo, PACCAR, these guys are going and saying, hey, we have an engine that can do this. But when that engine hits 1 million miles, I can about guarantee you that engine is deleted. And if you look in almost every single truck in truck paper, go under Kenworth, Peterbilt, go under Freightliner, Western Star, whoever, the truck's got 500 to 700,000 miles. More than likely, that engine has been rebuilt. So these trucks can go a million miles without rebuilding an engine, but because of the emission system that's on there, they're not getting reliability out of them. And now they're trying to force, they don't even have the emission systems figured out, right? And now they're trying to force electric down our throats. And that's frustrating. And that's why I think Cummins, PACCAR, Western Star, like all the Daimler, like all these guys, they need to go to the government and they need to say, listen, we don't have electric trucks ready. You're going to have to give us a lot more money to test and create and put infrastructure in to be able to have electric trucks. And until some of that stuff happens, they're going to just keep forcing this stuff down our throats. And it's kind of a greedy thing. And I think at some point it's probably going to come back to bite them, which I feel already some of PACCAR's policies are and will. But, they want to go with plastic trucks and they want to make them cheaper and more efficient and some of that stuff. Well, before I buy a 990, I'm going to absolutely price out a Western Star. Like the newer, like some of these trucks, like the 990, if the new 900 replacement isn't like it should be, and just a lot more plastic, like why would I buy a 589? It's a lot of plastic. Why would you buy a 589 when Western Star makes a comparable truck? I mean, at the end of the day, we're comparing a lot of plastics. I mean, yeah, there's some suspension components, but I'm more worried about suspension components when they got 1 million or 2 million miles on. When I'm trading these trucks in every 400,000 to 500,000 miles, what difference does it make if you have a Western Star or a Peterbilt? I mean, a plastic to plastic truck? Come on, like. And that's where I feel the prices of these 589s, they're not going to get the price of the 389. These trucks are not going to last as long. And therefore resale value on these trucks, I mean, right now they're trying to get a top dollar for them, but eventually they're not going to. It's going to come back to bite them. These manufacturers need to start pushing back and saying, no, we don't have an electric truck ready. Cummins needs to push back and say, listen, our X15 Performance Series, our best engine, we are still having issues with the emission system. But they're not. Instead, Cummins is saying, hey, we got the emission system figured out. It's good. It's good to go. We can pass the next mandates for emissions for 2030. No, you can't. When you can put a truck together, an emission system together that is reliable, I'm talking about reliable. Like if it's got to go to the dealer 1 time or 2 times, that's okay. And for something very minor, right? That's acceptable, right? But I want a truck with an emission system. If you say your emission system is so good, I want a truck with an emission system that can go 1 million miles without any issues. Maybe 1 or 2 minor issues, okay? That can go up and down the road and get the job done. I want reliability. You know what's funny? So in fact, Ithaca, New York is one of the greenest towns in probably our whole state. Like Ithaca, everyone knows is, it's trying to be as green as possible. And again, if you want to be green, that's totally fine. Like I don't mind electric. If those new Ram pickups that are part electric, part gas, like I'd try one of them out. I mean, it's not that I'm opposed to electric, but it's when they force it down our throats in an impractical way. That's when it becomes painful. But Ithaca, New York had 8 buses that were all electric. And they are getting rid of their 8 buses and switching to diesel because of reliability. They are just not having the reliability. I actually snapped a picture of it on my phone. Let me see if I can quick bring it up. But it says, the most important thing for us right now is to have reliable, stable service where someone who's waiting for a bus comes at the time that it says it's going to. Wow. And this is just people, right? If the bus shows up an hour late or 2 hours late, people going to fuss? Yeah, they're going to fuss. Well, guys, guess what? These trucks are hauling feed every single day. They're hauling grain. They're hauling stuff that is crucial to animals, okay? Animals should eat. People just need to haul it around, right? But animals should eat. And if we have a fleet of unreliable trucks, how do you think animals are going to eat? You know, a lot of our fleet, and that's why, like this truck right here, 2000 model truck, this truck's got well over 1,000,000 miles on it, and it's still a very reliable truck. It goes into the shop for service. This just came out today. This was in the shop getting service this morning. It just came out today. We go through these trucks, and I'm not saying that I'm opposed to these new Cummins engines. I just want something more reliable. That's the most frustrating part, because we do a lot of unique things, and I just want reliability. And I wish that these manufacturers would stand up to Cummins and stand up to some of the engine manufacturers and to the government and say, listen, this is not right. But instead, they're just simply embracing it because guess what? They get to sell more trucks. They're trying to pump these trucks out as fast as they can. All right, that's enough. But you have a little bit of my frustration. And like I said, this is not just New York State. This is already starting in California. This is New York in 2025. Basically, every truck dealer needs to be selling a certain portion of their trucks electric, which is going to have a huge impact on our dealers. You know, there might not be any more dealers in New York State. And then how are you going to work on the trucks that are already sold in New York? So I don't know. It's confusing. But anyway, New Jersey, like there's a whole bunch of the states that have adopted and signed on to a lot of this stuff. So you think you're still ways out? Well, hang on. It's not that far out. So it's check your state. So the best thing now, check in with Tanny, or check in with your trucking association of Pennsylvania or New Jersey or Ohio or whatever state you're from. Check out their website, go become a member. And not that you have to go and fight, but at least let them hear what your experiences are with some of this new equipment. And let them hear some of your frustrations, because I know I'm not the only one with emission problems. And honestly, I really don't have a lot of emission problems because we don't have many emission trucks. That's a good thing. All right, guys, quick update on the calendar. We are very close to getting that done. I messaged the guy today and I said, calendar looks good. We made a few adjustments. Calendar looks good. And we're ready to print. So I'm really hoping by December 1 to have calendars available. So I will keep you posted, and I will make sure to put together some good packages for you guys. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Peace out.